Wow, 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 wow. What a crazy game for the first Monday Night Football game of the year. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bobby Valentine Sports Show. And I'm your host, Frank Rampant, like always. And it is the first week of the NFL season. The NFL has finally returned, and this is going to be episode 1 of the NFL Sports Show. So, we're going to get right into week 1 as it has been a long-awaited offseason. Waiting for this to get down, and week 1 of the NFL season. Sunday was yesterday, filming on Monday. One more game left tonight, Bills-Jets, but almost every team is played, and we're going to get into the first episode of the new NFL season. Very exciting stuff, and as you can tell, we got the Marcus Allen Super Bowl action. We got Raiders stuff all over the place. If you can't tell yet, A's, Raiders, that's me, okay? So we're going to dive right into it. And same way we do the baseball one, we're going to start off with a weekly recap, right? And so, like I said, week 1 of the NFL season is finally here, and I could not be more excited. Let's go. I cannot be more excited. I was so amped up yesterday to hear Scott Hansen on the Red Zone. 7 hours of commercial-free football starts now, and I was losing my mind. It was awesome. And so same thing, we're going to try to keep this a little bit similar here because we're going to do baseball and football for about a month here until about a month and a half until the MLB season wraps up, that playoffs too. So the hottest team after, I guess, week 1, very small sample size, clearly, because everyone's only played one game. But last night, today's a Monday morning, but you'll see this whenever this week. Sunday Night Football in East Rutherford, New Jersey, Cowboys-Giants. Oh my goodness. Arguably the biggest blowout in the history of the NFL for a week 1 game. Very, very disappointing start for the Giants. And I mean, great start for the Cowboys. That defense looks absolutely insane. It was the first time in the history of the Cowboys franchise that their first 2 touchdowns in the season were not on the offense. The first one was a blocked kick for a touchdown, and then a pick 6 a couple minutes later. So that game started off real bad for the G-Men and only got worse. I think it was, 26-0 at halftime. They ended up losing the game 40-0. And, I mean, that first drive for the Giants, I mean, Saquon had a couple nice runs. Daniel Jones had a couple nice runs. They were moving down the field nicely. And then that low snap that went under Daniel Jones' legs killed him, set up for the field goal, blocked field goal, touchdown. They got the ball back immediately, had a big sack, and then a pick 6. So it was tough to watch. And Billy, Giants fans, I've been friends with a lot of Giants fans. Must have been a very, very bad night. I feel for you, because I'm a Raiders fan. You've seen some things that we've done. You see that last Super Bowl? Yeah, 50 years ago. Or I guess 40. And then we're going to go with, so we always did the outfield play of the week segment. It's coming up soon, but no outfielders in this sport, obviously. So we're just going to go with our play of the day from Sunday. And I'm not sure if you guys saw Jaguars-Colts. Anthony Richardson was making his first career start at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. And this game was actually very close. The Colts played very well. It was a very contested game until the end. The Jaguars kind of pulled away a little bit. But, I mean, I was actually very impressed with this entire Colts team and Anthony Richardson. So pretty good stuff for them. But we're going to go into about 5 minutes to go in the second quarter here. Jaguars going in just inside the red zone. And a 2nd and 13 play. And we're going to pull this up here. Trevor Lawrence is going to take the snap, take a couple steps back, and he's going to loft one to the far right corner of the end zone. And look at that throw and catch. Trevor Lawrence and Zay Jones, that connection was unbelievable there. I watched this live yesterday on Red Zone, and when he made this throw, it went up, I was like, oh. And then Zay Jones scooted right around. He just outran the defender. Perfectly thrown ball. Great catch by Zay Jones as well. Able to keep both feet in, secure the ball. And if they show this other replay, he basically caught the top of this football, like right here. But it was like that. Pretty crazy stuff. Look at this right here. You see that? And then he takes his left hand off it because he's just right here. Perfectly executed throw and catch there. Zay Jones, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence looked very, very good yesterday. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. And that's very encouraging. But Trevor Lawrence looked very, very, very good. And I know there's not everyone believes in him, which I kind of think is crazy. I think he's going to be very good. He's very young. He's only going to get better, I think. The end of his last year, that playoff game when they beat the Chargers after that, what, they're down 27-0, 28-0? I think he's for real. I think he's for real with that flow. Still looks like a college boy. You kidding me? Next segment here, we're going to get into the Game of the Week segment, and there is no doubt the Game of the Week came from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Miami Dolphins. And what an absolute shootout this game was. Oh my goodness. If you didn't open the fantasy football app, you didn't watch any football yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill absolutely torched this LA Chargers defense for 60 minutes. We're going to get into it here. But oh my goodness, this was an unbelievable game. In the 4 o'clock window, right, and we'll get it started right away, Tyreek Hill is just making plays out of his mind. And that's going to be a very, very, very important factor for this entire game. So, Dolphins driving early, and they drop the snap. Tua has a botched snap. Ball gets away, Chargers ball. So, first drive of the year for the Dolphins ends with a turnover. Not the ideal way to start the game. So here's Herbert now, 3rd and 6, going the other way. Escapes the rush. He's going to step up and just barely run for the first down there. Nice play by him. And later on in the drive, 3rd and goal here, they're going to give the ball to Austin Eckler, and he's going to punch it in for the first score of the year for the Los Angeles Chargers. So Austin Eckler, he had a very good day himself. Getting right back on track where he left off last year, top 4 pick in all fantasy drafts this year. Seems to be doing exactly what he did last year. So, Dolphins get the ball back, march right down the field, and they're going to punch it in with a 2-yard rushing touchdown by Raheem Mostert to tie the game up with about a minute left to go in the first quarter. So, back and forth affair already. Chargers get the ball back here, 3rd and 7. Herbert drops back, rolling right, looking down the field, fires, and it is incomplete. Unable to secure the pass inbounds, and the Chargers are going to have to punt. So, giving the ball right back to Tua and the Dolphins, and he's going to find Tyreek Hill over the middle for about a 45, 50-yard gain, and Tyreek Hill creating so much space for himself this entire game. That's just a theme. Very next play, Tua goes over the middle to, guess who? Tyreek Hill for another 25-yard gain, and Tyreek Hill is absolutely out of his mind in this game. Absolutely out of his mind. Tua fakes the handoff, rolls to the left, finds the running back out into the flat for a nice gain to get inside the 5. So now 3rd and goal here. Tua looks left, and the ball's broken up. Great play there by, who is that? Why am I blanking on his name? The guy from Florida State. Oh, my God. I'm looking at him right now. Florida State safety that they got. Oh, my God. You know who I'm talking about. So, Dolphins are forced to settle for 3. They nail the field goal, 10-7 lead. And they give the ball back to the Chargers. And on 1st and 10 here from the 35-yard line, Austin Eckler finds a hole and bursts through it. Stiff-armed to get away from another defender into the secondary and isn't brought down until he's all the way within the 10-yard line. So about a 60-yard run there by Austin Eckler, just barely tracked down by the cornerback going into the end zone. So he's still as powerful, elusive, little bolder as he is. He's so crazy. And on 3rd and goal, Herbert's going to fake a handoff here to Eckler and throw an absolute laser to Parham here. And, I mean, they're not very far apart. And that was a dart from Justin Herbert. And he's got a hose on him. So nice catch there from Parham. And they're going to give the ball right back to Miami. And a little RPO here. A little toss out into the flat to the tight end for a nice gain. Tyreek Hill rules. Oh, Tyreek Hill. Tua. What am I saying? So a nice drive for the Dolphins following the score from the Chargers as Tyreek Hill makes another catch at the 3-yard line to pick up a first down, setting up 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. And Tua is going to find River Craycraft in the back of the end zone. That's going to give the Dolphins a 17-14 lead with just under 2 minutes left in the first half. So a very, very back and forth game already, as the Chargers are still looking to tie the game or take the lead with time left in regulation. So they set themselves up for a field goal, 45 yards out with about 10 seconds left in the half, and it is boomed in 50-yarder by Cameron Dicker the kicker. But with 8 seconds left in the half, Tua is able to find Jalen Waddle down the right sideline to just around midfield with 2 seconds left in the half. And the Dolphins are going to try a Hail Mary here because I guess why not? You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. So Tua is going to launch one down the left sideline. And J.C. Jackson, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing, J.C.? What is this? Just pushes him, blatantly pushes him out of the way. Doesn't even make the pick. Pass interference. Sets the Dolphins up for a field goal to take the lead with no time. This is an untimed down. Last down of the first half is a nailed field goal to put the Dolphins up 20-17. So mental mistake there from J.C. Jackson. One of the NFL's best cornerbacks, really. Not a great play by him. So, starting off the second half here, the Chargers get the ball. And they're going to go on a nice little drive here. Herbert's going to throw to the end zone and miss, but there's going to be a flag on the play. That's going to spot the ball at the 1-yard line. Justin Herbert is going to sneak into the end zone. Touchdown Chargers. That makes it a 24-20 lead for LA. So, like I've been saying this entire time, very, very, very back and forth game. So now we're about halfway through the third quarter, and Tyreek Hill is still being Tyreek Hill. And on 2nd and 13, from their own 32-yard line, Tua's going to pump, throw one to the right. Tyreek's going to make the play, make 2 defenders miss, run like an absolute maniac that he is, like the Tasmanian devil, runs out of the bounds at the far sideline. Another 40-yard gain from Tyreek. If you haven't noticed yet, he's gaining 25, 30 yards at least on every single play. 2nd and 9 later in the drive, across the middle, this time Jalen Waddle. He didn't have as crazy of a day as Tyreek because Tyreek had 200 yards, but that receiving duo as lethal as ever. Tua lofts one to the end zone here, and J.C. Jackson gets his revenge. Picks him off in the end zone, but for some reason decides to come out and gets tackled at the 5. This leads to 3rd and 1, and Justin Herbert gets sacked inches away from the goal line. Very, very close to a safety there. And I mean, J.C. Jackson almost made 2 mental mistakes that cost his team 5 points instead of just 3. But Herbert is able to stay out of the end zone. They punt the ball away. Dolphins get the ball back. And on the second play of the drive, Tua looks deep down the right sideline for Tyreek Hill, who's wide open, runs right by the man. Tua's fired up. Dolphins take the lead again, 26-24. And I mean, Tyreek Hill just runs by everybody. He's too fast. So now 27-24, extra point is good. Chargers get the ball back. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Austin Eckler catches a short little pass out route in the flat. Takes off for 30 yards down the sideline. Austin Eckler, have a day, like you always do, it seems. Later on in the drive, 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. Gerald Everett catches the screen and makes a couple defenders miss and picks up the first down. So Chargers going in here in the red zone now, 2nd and 8, first play of the fourth quarter. Hands off to Joshua Kelly. He's going to get 9 yards, just short of a first down. Handed back to Joshua Kelly. He's in for a score now. So another back and forth game, another back and forth score. Maybe the 5th or 6th lead change of this game, 31-27 LA. So Tua and the Dolphins back with it now. And he is going to escape the pressure, roll left, make a throw to the far sideline, and this one is incomplete. Unable to... Whoa. He caught that. Holy bones. Wow. And a 15-yard penalty on top of it. Next play, Tua. There's Waddle. Catches another one. So now, 3rd down and 15. Tua's looking for Waddle over the middle. Excuse me, that is Raheem Mostert. He makes the catch, but he is tackled shy of the yard to gain. So the Dolphins are forced to kick a 45-yard field goal to make it a one-point ball game, and it is good, 31-30. Chargers get the ball back, 10 minutes to go in the ball game. So big possession here for the Miami defense. Need a stop, can't give up any more touchdowns, can only give up a field goal. If they give up a touchdown, not ideal situation for them. And this Miami defense really, like both of these defenses, honestly, Chargers and Miami, they've been really worn out for this entire game. It's been a back-and-forth battle, high-scoring affair, lots of offense, tons of action. So later on in the drive, Chargers get all the way within the 10-yard line. Now it's 3rd and 5 from the 7. Herbert's looking for somebody to throw to, throws to the back corner of the end zone. That's over the head of Mike Williams, uncatchable. Incomplete pass, no flags on the field. So just under 4 minutes to go, Dicker, the kicker, comes out for a 25-yard attempt, and he's going to drill that one right through the middle of the uprights. That'll make it a 4-point ball game, 34-30 Chargers. 3:47 to go, 3rd and 10 from their own 25. Tua steps up, throws on the run for Tyreek yet again, who makes a sliding catch across midfield. Another 45, 50-yard gain for Tyreek. What a throw and catch on this one. Later in the drive, 3rd and goal, Tua to guess who? Tyreek Hill. Fade to the back right corner of the end zone. Touchdown, of course. Puts the Dolphins up with 1:45 left to go, 36-34. Unbelievable drive there from Tua and Tyreek. Unbelievable game from Tua and Tyreek. And I mean, it is really unbelievable what they have been doing. Extra point is missed. So only a 2-point ball game and a field goal will win the game for LA. 7 lead changes in this ball game. First play of the ensuing drive for LA. Throw to the right side. That's caught by Gerald Everett. That's going to be a first down, and he gets out of bounds. 1:38 to go. So Chargers in business. First play of the drive goes well. Next play, Herbert takes the ball in shotgun. He's looking right, throws off his back foot, and that is incomplete. And nobody's home. Nobody's home. The Dolphins players are asking for it, and they get it. Intentional grounding on Justin Herbert. Loss of down, 2nd down and 20. Herbert, yet again, drops back, rush is coming, and they get to him. About 4 Miami Dolphins pass rushers get there and bring Justin Herbert down. So a big sack there. 3rd down doesn't work. 4th and 13 now. Herbert drops back again, and the Miami pass rush gets there again to seal the victory. Huge, huge stand at the end of the game for Miami, as they really weren't able to get any stops for the entire game in this absolute shootout of a game. But when they needed it the most, they forced Herbert into a intentional grounding and then 2 sacks when the game on the line. Sack to clinch the game on 4th down. Dolphins win. Wildest game of game 1. 36-34. Missed extra point, did not come back to hurt them, which it usually does. It usually does. So that will wrap up our game of the week. And man, what a game it was. What an unbelievable first game, honestly. Like, that was great. Weird thing, though, Scott Hansen mentioned this on NFL Red Zone. So, obviously, there's more 1 o'clock games every week than 4 o'clock, right? This week, there was an extra 1 or 2 4 o'clock games because it's week 1, there was a lot of games. 5 games in the 4 o'clock window. I believe there was 8 in the first one, in the 1 o'clock window. There was 27 touchdowns scored in the 1 o'clock window and 29 scored in the 4 o'clock window. So this game obviously had a lot to do with it, but the 4 o'clock window produced more touchdowns than the 1 o'clock window with less games. Pretty crazy there. So we're going to move in our last segment of this week 1 NFL podcast. The NFL standings predictions. All right, it's week 1. Not going to give you a standings update. You know what's going on. Everyone's only played 1 game. Nothing really matters yet. So we're going to give you a little bit from the game that happened this week for that team, if it has yet, besides the Bills and the Jets. But that'll be later today. I'm going to be back. Don't worry when it's dark. Don't worry. I'll be back after the game. But we're going to give you what I think is going to happen. I'll give you my record predictions and division predictions for each team. All right. So we'll start off with the AFC East and one of the teams we actually haven't seen play yet. And the team I'm going to pick to win this division is going to be the Buffalo Bills. They're playing tonight against the New York Jets. I'm going to come back and talk about them later. But I think that the Buffalo Bills, I think they're going to go 11-6 and win that division. Very, very tough division, but I think they're going to take it. Coming in second, team we just talked about, team we just watched a lot of highlights of, the Miami Dolphins. Just played that wild game in SoFi against the Chargers. Took that one. And I think this team's going to be good. I really do. I got them going 10-7. I don't know if they're going to be able to overtake the Bills. Last year, you could tell it wasn't their thing. They lost there in the snow. That's a tough place to play for the Miami Dolphins in Orchard Park in the snow, So I'm going to put them 10-7, see what happens. And I've been saying this a lot, honestly, for the past month or two. The New York Jets, right? We're going to see them tonight. I could put my foot in my mouth. I could come back on this later. We'll talk, and my foot might be in my mouth. But I've been saying this for a while. The New York Jets are kind of gearing up exactly gearing up to do exactly what the New York Mets did. Like super hyped up off season. They got all the buzz of New York around them right now. Mets were supposed to be the best team in New York going into this year. The Jets are supposed to be the best team right now. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got all this hype around them. They got Dalvin Cook. I can see them suffering, having some problems. I got them going 9-8, coming in third in division. I know that would be a very, very bad season for the Jets, for Jets fans, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. They're the Jets. They got to show me something different before it happens. And the New England Patriots, I have them going 7-10 and coming in last place in the AFC East. That is crazy to say. That doesn't happen. That does not happen, ever. They lost to the Eagles yesterday, but they honestly played pretty well. Their defense played pretty well. They outgained the Philadelphia Eagles by about 150 yards. Mac Jones threw for, I think, 315 yards. Kendrick Bourne was very, very good. I mean, that defense is good. And, I mean, they had a chance to beat the Eagles there. Like, that fourth down just barely didn't go their way. Couldn't get the feet in bounds. But, I mean, very valiant effort. And this team could be a thorn in some sides in the AFC. Now we'll move to the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles, they beat the Patriots. Just talked about them. But their offense didn't look that good. Like, Jalen Hurts looked solid. Like, Jalen Hurts is good. But they didn't look that great. Like, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I was expecting a little bit more. But I think they will get better as the season goes on. And I still have them winning the NFC East and going 12-5. So that didn't look like that yesterday, but I think they're going to come around. Last night, we saw the Dallas Cowboys absolutely annihilate the New York Giants, 40-0. And I'm going to have this Dallas Cowboys team. This defense is very, very good. Have this Dallas Cowboys team going 11-6, coming in second in the NFC East here. If Dak Prescott is able to protect the ball and they're able to put together drives consistently in every single game, I could see this team being better than the Philadelphia Eagles. I could. I really could. So this is going to be kind of an interesting division. I got the Giants coming in third at 8-9. I think the Giants are going to regress a little bit from last season. I definitely think that's going to happen. I just can't see them repeating exactly what they did last year. I think this is a solid team, but their receiver room, their receiver room is the worst in the NFL. And I don't know what they're going to do with that, I don't know. Saquon Barkley can't carry this team to, the playoffs again, can he? I guess we'll find out. The Washington Commanders, under new ownership, got their first win post Dan Schneider. They beat Arizona, but barely. So, they didn't look that good. And I'm going to have them finishing last in this NFC East at 6-11. Sorry, Beebs. But you got the Orioles this year, okay? Now we'll go to the North divisions, the AFC North. This team, this might be, I don't know, yesterday, the Bengals got absolutely mollywopped by the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland in a rainy game. But the Cincinnati offense looked terrible. Joe Burrow couldn't get anything going. He had 82 passing yards the whole game. T. Higgins had no catches. Very tough start to the season by them. They didn't even score a touchdown. They scored 3 points. But I still think that this team is very good. Joe Burrow, I think he's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history for a reason. And I think they're going to finish 11-6 and take down this AFC North. Coming in second, the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to go 10-7. They beat Houston yesterday. Lamar Jackson actually didn't play that well yesterday. They beat Houston handedly. They won by about 20, 25, I think. Maybe three touchdowns, 24 points. But Lamar Jackson didn't have that good of a day. The defense played well, but C.J. Stroud didn't look very good his first NFL start. That Houston team is very, very raw. They're going to need something, and I don't know if it's time yet for them. Pittsburgh Steelers, I got them coming in third in this division at 9-8. They had a tough opening week one matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, and that did not go well. They lost that game pretty handedly. Brandon Ayuk went nuts in the first half. Christian McCaffrey started the second half out with a bang, with a really long, I think, 60-yard touchdown. And, that's just a tough draw week one to play against that Niners team. That defense, everyone on that team is just real good. But I think the Steelers are, I don't think they're going to go under 500 because they don't do that, Mike Tomlin's not going to let that happen. And, I could see them battling out for a wild card at the end of the year, which is usually the Steelers every year. So I think Kenny Pickett and Najee Harris are going to be a little better than they should have last year. And I feel like that's an unpopular opinion. And I'm going to say it. I think that Najee Harris and Kenny Pickett are going to be solid this year. And wrapping out this AFC North, even though they just beat Cincinnati at home pretty handedly, I think this Cleveland Browns team is going to finish 7-10. I think this division is going to be pretty close, top to bottom, like within 4 games of the top to bottom. So we'll see, but I don't know if this Browns team is going to be able to sustain this, especially with their kind of question mark on like the offensive side of the ball. I think it got helped out that they were playing at home in a rainy game yesterday, or in their first game this season on Sunday, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. NFC North. I think this is going to be, I think both of the North divisions are going to be pretty interesting because I think those teams are they play against each other well all the time. The matchups are always good, first of all. And I think the teams are just pretty even in general. But this is going to be not a shocker to most, I bet, because this has been the hot pick of the year. The Detroit Lions, who came out with a bang in the season opener against the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, in Arrowhead, in Kansas City, beat the Chiefs 21-20 in a very tough, hard-fought football game. But I think that this division is going to be very tight. I got the Lions winning this division at 10-7. So that's not a very... And I just think it's because they're going to be gritty. This is going to be a gritty season for this entire NFC North. Because I got the Vikings, who just lost to the Bucs and Baker Mayfield in his first start for Tampa Bay. I have them going 10-7 as well. But I'm going to have a head-to-head divisional thing. I think the Lions are going to take the Vikings down head-to-head. Weird kind of, I don't know. I have a feeling that this NFC North is going to be very interesting. Because I also have the Packers at 9-8, which is just one game behind both of these teams. So I think Lions, Vikings, Packers, I think they're all going to be very close this year. I really do. And I mean, Jordan Love looked good yesterday. They played the Bears, who, sure, they're not great, but Jordan Love looked very good. He looked like he had a good connection with Romeo Doubs. Christian Watson wasn't even playing. So this offense could only get better. Hopefully Aaron Jones isn't banged up too badly. He scored a touchdown on a 4th down play, and he actually banged up his hamstring a little bit. And he was getting stretched out on the sideline, and he saw the sky cam come over him to check on him, and he was like, yo. So hopefully he's all right. We'll see. But I think those top 3 teams in the NFC North are going to be very tough. And then the Bears, they just lost to the Packers. I don't know. I think they're going to go 5-12 and round this division out, be in the top 5 draft picks again. You know, I just don't see it really. Just don't. Heading over to the South, the AFC South. I got the Jags. I think they're going to go 11-6. Trevor Lawrence, I talked about him a little bit earlier. I think that he's going to have a very good year. They beat the Colts. They spoiled Anthony Richardson's debut. He did look pretty good, though, but Trevor Lawrence made a bunch of really great throws. Calvin Ridley looked really good. Calvin really hadn't played a football game in like 600 days before yesterday, and he looked very good. He was going off on the first drive. He scored their first touchdown of the game, and he almost scored another one, but he just barely stepped out of bounds. The Tennessee Titans just lost to the New Orleans Saints yesterday by 1 point. I think they're going to go 9-8. This AFC South, I don't think it's going to be so strong. So I think the Jaguars are going to be solid, but then I don't really know because I don't know how I feel about this Titans offense as well as the defense. And yesterday was just a weird game. They lost to the Saints by 1. They couldn't score a touchdown. They had 5 field goals. 5 field goals, 15 points. They lost 16-15. So I don't know. I think they're going to be Indianapolis Colts, they just lost to the Jags. I just talked about them. Anthony Richardson's debut at home as well. He actually did look pretty good. He made a couple mistakes. He threw a bad pick late in the game, underthrown ball. He was kind of trying to layer a pass, but it didn't get over the linebacker. Or maybe it was the nickel corner, but he picked it off on the sideline. It kind of was right to him, but like I saw the idea there. He just has to get more acclimated to NFL football. So that was actually promising by him, but I got the Colts going 6-11. And to round it out, C.J. Stroud-led Texans, they just lost to the Ravens, but they looked like they had no juice anywhere, you know? So I got them going 4-13. C.J. Stroud didn't look great, but again, not a great matchup for them week 1. So we'll see if they can improve as the season goes on. NFC South, I got my boy, DC, Derek Carr, the new New Orleans Saints quarterback, taking them 10-7 and winning the NFC South. I love Derek Carr. I've always loved Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr gets a very bad rap. Derek Carr, this is Derek Carr's 10th NFL season. In 9 NFL seasons with the Raiders, first of all, Derek Carr is the best Raiders quarterback of all time by any statistic you look up. Derek Carr is the greatest Raiders quarterback in the history of the Raiders. In 9 seasons of his tenure with the Raiders, His defense gave up 27 points a game. 27 points a game on average for 9 years. It's the highest total of points given up by any quarterback's defense in any 9-year span in NFL history. If Derek Carr had not a good defense, if he had a mediocre defense once or twice, he would be talked about a lot differently. And I firmly believe that. And now he's got Chris Olave, he's got a good defense down in New Orleans, and a very shaky NFC South with a very easy schedule as well. I think Derek Carr is about to change a lot of people's minds about him. And I've been a believer forever, since that first game that we ever played. Coming in second, I got the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We go 8-9. They just beat Minnesota in Minnesota, so big win for them, but I see them regressing. I don't know how this team's going to be. This is a hard division to get a feel on. Also, the Atlanta Falcons, they just beat Carolina. Bryce Young in his first NFL start. I got them going 8-9 as well, because they're a very one-dimensional team. Desmond Ridder threw the ball 18 times the other day, and I don't really know if that's going to cut it. Like, Bijan Robinson looked very good. Tyler Algier had 2 touchdowns. But is that going to be able to be sustained every single week? They only beat the Carolina Panthers, who I have going 6-11, coming in last in this division. Like, they only pulled away kind of late. And it was Bryce Young's first ever start. And, I mean, he looked okay. He threw a touchdown pass. He threw 2 picks. But he looked okay. I mean, weird bottom of this division here, you know? And heading over to the AFC West, my division, where the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost their opener against the Lions, but they're inevitable. You can't not say that they're going to win this division, right? I was going to say 13-4, but they lost, so I'll say 12-5. But, yeah, the Chiefs are probably going to win this division, you know, just because I've been watching it for so long. And, you know, 15 more years of Patrick Mahomes terrorizing me twice a year. And now we got another guy playing for L.A. So Justin Herbert, they're probably going to come in second, probably going to win 11 games, go 11-6. They just lost the shootout of Week 1, game of the week, to Miami. Very, very close game. Very high-powered offense on both sides. Not a lot of defense played in that game. But got to play Justin Herbert again twice. So 4 games this year for me against Mahomes and Herbert. Don't know how I feel about that. But here's where I got the Raiders. 10-7, third here. But that's a chance for wild card because we got Chiefs 12-5, Chargers 11-6. I'm thinking 10-7. We did not look good yesterday. The Raiders did not look good yesterday. They beat Denver in Denver. For the 7th time in a row, they've beaten the Broncos. But it was an ugly game. It wasn't great. I mean, the first drive, the Broncos came out the gate and opened up the season with an onside kick. They illegally touched it. They recovered it. Illegally touched it, though, so the Raiders got the ball. Thank God. I was tweaking. First play of the season, I almost had a heart attack. Thank God they touched that illegally. Raiders got the ball on a short field, and immediately you could see that Jimmy Garoppolo, well, he wanted to make his Devontae Adams connection evident at first, which he did on the first drive, but him and Jacoby Myers, they have something connection going on. He found him early, and he found him often. He caught a touchdown on the first drive, Jacoby Myers. Raiders went up early, but then, like the same thing that the Raiders do all the time, they went stagnant for like 30 minutes, and they just stop. And it's the same thing all the time. Last year, we would score first, we'd go stagnant for a while, we'd give up points at the end of the first half, like we did this time, to go down 13-7, and then they get the ball back. Raiders finally turned it on a little bit, but we drive down, and Jimmy G throws a pick in the end zone. That looked like the nail in the coffin. I was really upset at that point. But a big stop by the defense, get the ball back, another touchdown by Jacoby Myers. So, if we play not that good and are able to get wins out like that, I could see it happening. Next week, we got a tough one against the Bills. Let's see how they do tonight. But I'm holding out confidence in Jimmy G. He's a winner. He won a game. He grinded out a win the way he does. And last place, going 8-9, just lost to us, the Denver Broncos. And I'm sorry, man. I think Russ and I think Sean Payton are getting way too much hype. I'm so glad we beat them yesterday. I really am. Because what did they do? What did the Denver Broncos do this offseason? They got Sean Payton. What else happened? Nothing. Nothing else happened. Everyone's freaking out like they're going to be the best team ever now. So glad we beat them. And to wrap up, we're going to go to the NFC West. And this team, they just beat the hell out of Pittsburgh yesterday. 49ers, they looked very, very complete, extremely complete. And it looked so good. And they have such a great, complete roster in all facets of the game. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be the NFL's best team in the regular season. They're going to go 13-4 and win the NFC West. Get the bye for the NFC. Coming in second, 10-7, I got the Seattle Seahawks. They just played an ugly game against the Rams. Ugly game. At home, too. But I think Geno's going to turn it around. I like Geno. I think Geno's going to be able to make his way to, maybe not, like last year was an anomaly. He's not going to do that again. But I think he'll be middle of the pack in the NFL. A top 5 in the NFC. Bold prediction, though. Third place, they just beat those Seahawks, the Rams. I think they're going to go 8-9. They played pretty well yesterday. They have a couple young guys. They have Tutu Atwell. They have Puka Nacua. And who is it? Kyron Williams scored 2 touchdowns on the ground. So, I mean, that team is solid, but I just, not yet. I think they're going to regress a little bit. I mean, they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year, I think. Cooper Kupp's got to come back. Matt Stafford's got to stay healthy, but 8-9, just under 500. And the Cardinals, this is probably going to be the worst team in the NFL. They lost to Washington. Their roster's just not great. Until they get Kyler Murray back, they really don't have any explosion. And I got them going 3-14, probably getting that number 1 pick in the draft. But week 1 was crazy. That 1 o'clock window was really nuts. I was sitting there waiting for points to be scored on my fantasy team, but they never came. They never happened because there was only 27 touchdowns the entire first 4 hours of the day, and obviously none of them were my team. So, yeah. So fantasy didn't go great week 1. I need the Jets defense to score me 20 points tonight in order to get a win, and I also need Tyler Bass to get me at I think 10. So, not going great, but. Thank God the NFL's back. Week 1 is here. Crazy week. And it's getting capped off tonight with Jets-Bills. And I'll be back to talk about that one after that thing wraps up. And we'll see you later. Wow, 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 wow. What a crazy game for the first Monday Night Football game of the year. So much to unpack from that game. That probably would have been our game of the week if it had happened yesterday. But I already did that segment with that shootout with the Rams, or the Chargers and the Dolphins. But oh my gosh, what a finish. What an unbelievable game. And if you remember, okay, first of all, earlier today, I said that the Jets may be the Mets of this year. The NFL's version of the Mets. There's things that happened today that leads me to believe that could happen. And there's also things that happened today that leads me to believe that that might not happen. So I don't even really know what just happened, to be honest. Unbelievable game. And another thing that I mentioned earlier, I mentioned Tyler Bass, right? I was down by a couple points. Tyler Bass, he hit a couple field goals to get me to win. I was down by 14 points coming into the Monday night game with just the Jets defense to go. And obviously, they just had a crazy game. They had 4 turnovers. The last turnover that Josh Allen had put me up by 2 points, 2 points. And then the last drive that the Bills had with that doinker field goal to tie it up to send it to overtime put me down by 1. And then that punt return touchdown walk-off for the win won me my fantasy matchup on the last play of the game on Monday night. Walk-off touchdown, defensive special teams touchdown. Are you kidding me for the week 1 fantasy dub? Are you kidding me? Raiders dub, Raiders dub, fantasy dub in a crazy way week 1. What a way to start the season. Let's go. And that was the 3rd overtime walk-off punt return touchdown in the history of the NFL, and the first one since 2011. How about it? Are you kidding me? Let's go. What a game. So, obviously, that wasn't the only storyline of this night. The biggest storyline going into this night, Aaron Rodgers making his New York Jets debut on Monday Night Football in MetLife Stadium. And after the Jets defense forced a 3-and-out, Rodgers and the Jets got the ball. He was pressured early. He had to throw one away on, I think it was his 2nd snap. And the 4th snap he played, the 3rd official play, because one of them was a penalty, Aaron Rodgers was sacked, and the Jets are fearing that he tore his Achilles. 4 snaps into his New York Jets career. Oh my gosh. If that's not the most Jets thing I've ever heard, ever, I don't know what is. And I just said earlier today, I can see that this Jets season might go exactly the way that the Mets did. And that was the first sign. I'm sitting there, oh my gosh. Are you serious? 2 minutes into the game, 4 snaps for the Jets offensively, and Aaron Rodgers is out, and he might have torn his Achilles. It might be done for the year. He's 39 years old. He might be done. He might be done. That's not an easy injury to come back from. Oh my goodness, that's the most Jets thing I've ever seen on the fourth play of the ball game. Tragedy strikes. But honestly, you got to give that Jets team, the Jets locker room, and you got to give Zach Wilson a little bit of credit as well. They were able to rally, and I mean, honestly, they were able to play well enough to keep themselves into the game for the whole time. Obviously, Zach Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers, and that offense and that whole team was built around Aaron Rodgers, so there's going to be some problems to come. And we're going to see how they will respond to that in the future, but I don't know. That was a very impressive win. And Josh Allen falls to 0-5 in overtime games in his career. So still has not been able to pick up a win or a tie in overtime yet. And that's the longest, the most amount of games without recording a win or a tie by any quarterback in NFL history. 5 games. Pretty crazy stuff. So Rodgers gets hurt early. The Bills look like, I thought this was going to be a blowout, to be honest. But, I mean, the Jets' defense forced 4 turnovers, 3 picks by, oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on his name. The safety for the Jets had an unbelievable day. Intercepted him 3 times. He dropped a snap. He fumbled it again. But I believe it was a 13-3 lead for the Buffalo Bills going into halftime. Zach Wilson, I mean, he wasn't really, he made a couple throws when he really needed to. It looked like when Zach Wilson got into the game, they were going to ride Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook until they needed to throw on third down, which is when he was able to make his plays. There was a play late in the game on third down where his lineman stepped on his foot, he rolled his ankle, and as he was falling down, he flipped it out for a first down completion on 3rd and 5. So he made the plays when he had to make the plays. And Breece Hall, coming off that ACL tear, looks very, very, very explosive. Very, very explosive. He had his first 2 carries of the game, he was over 100 yards. 2 carries, 109 yards. He busted an 89-yard run, I think, his second carry of the game. Unbelievable. It was almost a touchdown, almost a 90-yard touchdown run for his second carry of the season coming off of an ACL tear. He looked very explosive. And the Jets actually went up in this ballgame. They were able to, after the 4th Josh Allen turnover, the fumble, they got the ball at about around midfield, I think in positive territory, were able to come down, and after they went for it on 4th down, they got a QB sneak that Zach Wilson picked up. They went super conservative and ran the ball 3 times in a row to force the Bills to call 2 of their 3 timeouts with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go in the game, kicked the field goal to go up 16-13. But at this point, I'm sweating because my defense, the Jets' defense, just forced the fourth turnover of the game to give them 18 points in the day. I'm up by 2. And I'm losing my mind. I'm like, let's go, let's go. Josh Allen and Diggs march down the field, get into field goal range, and the yards that the Bills pick up in that drive get them over 300 on the day to lose me points. And then the field goal off the post and in puts me down 1, and I'm losing my mind. So to overtime we go, and the Jets defense, the Bills get the ball first, and immediately the Jets defense gets a stop. I was praying for a sack, a fumble, a pick. Nothing happened there. And as soon as that incompletion on 3rd down happened, I was like, oh, game's over. I lose my fantasy matchup. The Jets are probably going to win this game, but now I'm going to lose my fantasy matchup week 1. And I'm sitting there a little bit dejected, and the punt goes off, and oh my goodness. As soon as he started taking off, I was like, oh my God, special teams. He's going. And I saw the punter, and I'm like, please, don't let the punter tackle you. Please, please. And he got the punter, maybe the worst tackle attempt I've ever seen in my life. Unless you can find the huddle clips of me trying to tackle Marquise Ward in high school, but you'll never be able to find that. But worst on-film tackle I've ever seen by anybody. Gets in, scores a walk-off touchdown. Robert Saleh going nuts. What an unbelievable comeback win for this New York Jets team. And, I mean, wow. You got to give credit to their defense. Credit to their defense and their running game. Because the Bills knew that they were going to run the ball. At a certain point, they weren't throwing unless it was 3rd down, and they really needed to pick up a first down. Like a 3rd and intermediate, 3rd and long situation where Zach Wilson was throwing the ball. Other than that, they were running it with Dalvin or Breece Hall. So Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and that Jets defense deserve a lot of credit for this win today. And honestly, that entire locker room for being able to keep it together after that brutal 4 snaps into the game, you lose your superstar that's been getting hyped up for the entire offseason. So what a win for the Jets. And honestly, that might be our new game of the week. 2 game of the weeks now, because that one and this one. And what a finish. What an unbelievable finish by that Jets special teams, the defense, and of course it was capped off by the defense/special teams, right? Of course it was. 3 and out, punt return touchdown. Caps it off. Crazy week 1 of the NFL season. So excited that football's back, and what a way to end week one. Are you kidding me? Monday night's usually when I get my heart broken on fantasy football. And as soon as that doinker went in off the upright, I was like, there's no way I'm starting another week one of fantasy football down in the dumps. But this year, the Jets defense, the special teams pulled it through for me, and we're going to walk out of week one as the Raiders are the only team in the AFC West 1-0 as we beat a division rival, Denver Broncos. The Chiefs lost on the opening Thursday night game to the Lions. The Chargers lost in our other game of the week to the Dolphins. So as of right now, I almost said Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders sit at the number 1 seed in the AFC West as of right now. And I got a walk-off special teams touchdown to win my fantasy matchup on the last day of week one. So we're sitting pretty right now in week one. Let's go, baby. So hopefully week 2 can live up to this hype. But I hope you enjoyed the first NFL podcast of the year. And we'll be having these going out every single week now that the NFL season's underway. One for the NFL, one for baseball. So busy month and a half, 2 months for me. And hopefully you guys will tune in. Follow us at all of our accounts, Bobby Valentine Sports Show, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. Follow the BV Academy, Bobby Valentine Sports Academy accounts on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And make sure you to like, subscribe, follow the Clips channel as well, and hit up bvacademy.com. And as always, thank you very much for listening. Peace out.